Hey everyone, it's time for some more Monster Hunter, and today we're going to be making a shorter episode. I am a little late starting this, but I figured it'd be nice to just focus on one mission in particular. We are going to deal with the bug Menace in Attack of the Giant Bugs. This is a mission that you do at the start of multiplayer, of course, because effectively what high rank is just the low rank quest all over again. At least in my experience. I could be wrong, but so far that's what the entirety of the 4-star missions were. Either way, even though this will be a short episode, I still hope y'all enjoy it. That said, let's get right into it. I just want to give a massive thanks to all of my Patreon supporters. This is the most direct way to support the channel, and they give me the motivation to keep going every day. Now, when it comes to Attack of the Giant Bugs, it's a bit of a longer mission whenever you're soloing it, because you have to slay 50 Vespoid. However, I'm not too worried because being a sword and shield main myself, it's pretty easy to kill them in general. Something else I was also pretty surprised about is that nobody seems to be hopping onto Monster Hunter 1 today. I did check the lobbies, it looks like there was nobody online, which is a bit interesting to me. I wonder if interest for the game is dying out or if everybody's kind of moved on and gone over to Monster Hunter G. Either way, I'm not too worried. I know that with the way the Monster Hunter community is, once I do get to the points where, I might need a hand here and there, a lot of people would be more than happy to help out, which is something I do appreciate about the community. And one of the really core pillars of what I want my community to be about, just being able to hop into any Monster Hunter game and having somebody to play with. Regardless of that, something I did want to chat about is the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. Now, I was a little disappointed. I can't even say little. I was pretty disappointed in the quality control that Capcom showed with the beta. Now, this was the first, public beta for any game I've really done. And I think there were public betas for stuff like Monster Hunter World. So it does make me wonder, was it this buggy and glitchy? Wherever Nargigante was in the Wildspire Waste. My guess is no, because I don't remember hearing about too many technical problems. I did walk away with some different impressions, though. Now, I do know that the version of the game for the beta was at least 6 to 8 months old, because I'm pretty certain it's exactly the same one that was at the Gamescom event as well. However, something I am a little worried about regardless is just optimization in general. Now, using Intel XeSS, oh, that's right, we're here for the Vespoid. Using Intel XeSS, I was able to get pretty optimal settings. I think I was able to get about 30 FPS, and effectively, I'm running 16 gigs of VRAM, and what's effectively a 1660 graphics card, so the bare minimum low settings. However, it was definitely playable. I played, I had a pretty fun time. However, it is unfortunate that in order to get any sort of stable frame rate at all, especially a playable and enjoyable frame rate, you have to enable all these settings. Now, there's a content creator that goes by the name of Retrospective. He's kind of made a name for himself, being the sort of, contradictory, conflicting, whatever. Basically, he talks about negative things in terms of, Monster Hunter, and from what I see in other Capcom games, and just other games in general. Not to say that's a bad thing, per se. He doesn't do it in a bad way. He actually is the person, criticizes a lot of these games, and very notable areas where people would otherwise just give them praise when there are things that do need to be criticized. And a big thing is in terms of the performance as well. Now, what he was saying is, for Capcom, and just a lot of AAA games in general, the reason why they do run so terribly is, and I think this is a great, way to phrase it. Basically, what he was saying is that it's kind of like as somebody who's impoverished or generally has not a lot of money and is living just barely within their means because they don't really have a choice but to do so. It's like somebody like that getting a lot of money. And as somebody who's in that situation myself, that's one of the main reasons why I can't understand this, is that, oh, please, y'all. It's that once you do have a lot of money and just unrestricted access to it, basically what happens is, if you're somebody who's more impoverished or somebody who's not used to having a lot of money, you start going on a bit of a spending spree. You get a new house, you get a new car, you get these subscription services, a new PC, everything else. And generally what happens is that whenever you do this, basically the amount of money you spend and the amount of money you have, it all kind of balances out. You're still going to barely be living within your means because basically what's going on is you're just spending more money even though you got more money until it's to the point where you have no spare money left over. And that's kind of how it is with the, basically with how fast technology is advancing in terms of, graphical, advances and everything else. what's happening is these companies are, I guess for lack of a better term, getting these graphical advances too quickly instead of slowly building up to it. So instead of going from something like the PlayStation 2 to the Xbox 360, they're going from like the Xbox 360 to, the Xbox One, like Rise, Son of Rome, a game like that. Now, that game, I guess specifically, was pretty well optimized, and because of that, it ran pretty great. At least in my experience, playing it on the Xbox One, like the base model Xbox One whenever I had one. However, something that is definitely, something like I'm taking into consideration is that, with all this frame generation and AI generation, whatever else, basically allowing you, and just upscaling in general, allowing you to run the game at higher frame rates on higher settings with, worse hardware. Companies are taking this as a free pass in order to basically put in the most intense, unnecessary graphical fidelity type things without really thinking about, oh, can everybody or even most people with a PC run this game? How's it going to perform on a console? And they do take that into consideration to some extent, but for me, it really is telling, and I think that's an honest take that I definitely agree with that Ratatasker had, where it seems like Capcom was in a situation where they decided, oh, well, everybody has 4080s and 4090s and, AI generation, and we can run it better and everything else. And when they put the low-end specs, they don't think, oh, well, how well does it run on low-end systems? And what they don't take into consideration is that, most people probably won't realize that in order to even get it to run on low-end systems, you have to spend, half an hour in the settings menu tweaking everything just right so that it can run. So, for example, my system, the one I'm playing on right now, it's an iNeo Flip DS, and basically it's got 16 gigs of VRAM, like I said. It has an 8840, AMD graphics card, which in effect is basically, oh my goodness. Basically, in effect, what it is a 1660, GTX 1660 graphics card, which is, on the low end of what's necessary for Wilds to run. But I had to tweak so many settings. I had to turn on Intel XeSS. I had to turn everything down to the lowest. And then once I finally got a stable frame rate, I was able to basically kind of tweak everything slightly just to get it to look as good as possible while still having, or at least maintaining 30 FPS. From what I could tell, I don't think there's a way I can get 60 FPS at all. I'll just have to settle with 30 FPS. And it really is unfortunate that we are in this situation where we can just give somebody like Capcom a free pass, or at least I see some people do it, when that's definitely something that's making the games market worse. Because fewer people are going to be able to play new releases, and that's going to lead to more people growing jaded and not being willing to buy new releases until you have better hardware, which few people can afford already. And then after that, that's just going to lead to people not buying new games at all for multiple years, which is going to lead to companies losing money, which is going to lead to, worse treatment for the consumers or, customers. Or, it's just going to make them think that that game failed because it's a bad game, when Monster Hunter Wilds is objectively amazing. I played it and I loved it, but because of the performance issues, a lot of people just won't be able to play it at all. There are a couple other things that I kind of took into consideration. There was like some issues with the foliage causing huge frame rate dips. I think I was getting my frame rate, I don't know about cut in half, but at least reduced by like 40%. I would say 30 or 40%. So instead of like 30 FPS, I was getting about 20 FPS in areas. There's like one specific area with dense grass, and I think it really is just an optimization problem in general. Besides that, most of it was pretty fun. It was pretty great. I thought the health bar with the, where it kind of flashes whenever an attack that would kill you is coming your way, I thought I would be distracted by that. And I was definitely in the camp of I didn't like it and I wanted to mod it out, if I ever got that chance. But then I just played it, and it definitely felt more like a tool, like a useful tool, instead of something distracting, getting in the way. Balahara, his moveset was definitely unfinished. Well, I won't say his moveset, but his animations. Because some of his animations, he just kind of snapped into different poses instead of smoothly transitioning between the animations, and I really hope they do fix that, before the main release. Besides that, I don't have too many, problems with the game itself in terms of the combat. Some of the hitboxes, and like I said, especially with Balahara, were a little bit weird. The Shagama, Raydal, I definitely didn't have any problems with those monsters specifically. I actually enjoyed my time quite a bit. And despite the weird, you know, visual animation bugs with Valhalla, I would say that I had a pretty fun time playing it in general, and I have no problems with, like, the monster's moveset and its combat itself. It was just basically the hitbox on its corkscrew tail attack, like that specific one, the hitbox definitely felt larger than it needed to be, and some of its animations just kind of snapped into place. Besides that, there was something like a rumor I was seeing floating around, that apparently Monster Hunter Wilds would be live service. Now, in terms of live service, what I think these people are thinking of is something like Call of Duty, where it always requires an internet connection and yada yada yada. I mean, I'm gonna wait until you actually answer before I say for certain, but what I believe was going on is that this is a beta test. It's a version of the game that's only meant to be free, you know, for a limited amount of time. And because of that, effectively, Capcom put aggressive DRM measures on it. That being, you know, constant internet connection being required. Now, when I think live service, there's two different kinds I think of. I do think something like Call of Duty, where it always requires an internet connection. But Monster Hunter is like a different type of live service, where it does get, you know, and even in the older games, it gets different collaborations, different event quests, and updates to the game itself in order to make it more fun, add more content, and of course, the obnoxious microtransactions that I really wish they would stop using. However, in terms of an actual always online type of game, I don't think that's going to happen with Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, again, I'm going to wait for them to, you know, make an official statement, but I have seen some rumors floating around that, you know, hey, it's going to require a constant internet connection, and I haven't really checked any of these rumors in depth. I just kind of heard some whispers here and there, but like I said, the beta test, it was always online because it's a beta test. They're basically harvesting, you know, your data, checking crash reports and everything else from your experience playing the game in order to optimize it for, you know, I guess, network stuff. Basically network studies and all that. But, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with the whole live service part of it. I don't think it's going to require an internet connection at all times, or even, kind of like Monster Hunter World, I don't even think it's going to require an internet connection to start up. But with it being such a, you know, one, a beta test, and two, a heavily online-focused game, they pretty much made it always online for the beta itself. Another reason why I think this way is because whenever you close the game in Steam now, it doesn't even give you the option to play or boot up the game again. It literally just gives you an option to uninstall and nothing else. So because of that, I don't think it's going to be an always online game. I think it'll just for the beta test exclusively for, you know, like I said, they want to make sure that it's stable, they want to get some feedback. And yeah, that's pretty much my feedback on it. Hey, you know, someone at Capcom, if you're watching this, or if anybody knows someone at Capcom, yeah, fix the Valhalla animations, please. It's definitely a little jarring compared to the quality of the other monsters. And yeah, fix that corkscrew tail attack. What the heck, I'm starting to get Please the Off hip check flashbacks. Oh, and I guess work on the optimization as well. I know I'm using an AMD system, but FSR hardly helps with the graphics at all, even though I'm pretty sure that when we use an 8840, it probably isn't meant for this, but the Intel XeSS, that definitely made it a lot more playable, although I was getting reports that some people were crashing. Notably, another content creator, Asteria, I know he was having some issues with crashing and like whenever he used Intel XeSS. Alright, I'm gonna call it right there. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you have any opinions on WoWs or some stuff you want to correct me on, or just stuff you want to talk about, feel free to do so in the comments below. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I will be doing videos almost every day of the week, as much as I can, at least 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. I'll pretty much be going back to my schedule from before. And of course, I'll be streaming every morning as well, and everybody is welcome to join. I believe today we'll be playing Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, but we'll certainly have to see. And if you want to support the future of the channel, check out my Patreon, linked in the description below. In the description below, you can also see my Discord, where you're welcome to join my community. If the link doesn't work, do leave me a comment, because sometimes the link doesn't work, even though it's supposed to be like a forever link to the server, that basically never expires. That's it. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye now.